Okay, welcome to this episode of the Deep Stone Podcast. I'm joined once again by Proto and Nick. Welcome, guys.
Hi.
Hello.
So, no TWAB this week because of Thanksgiving. Such a shame, such a shame. No, it's fine. But it's been a pretty quiet week in Destiny. I mean, not a whole lot has been going on exactly seasonally. Uh,
No new seasonal content, was there? So,
Not that I could think of, no. I
yeah.
mean, so, what have you guys been using this time in the game to do? You can see either of you.
Well, I've been going for the lost sectors now. I'm finally getting to that level where I can comfortably do the 1250s. I've even did the 1280 today, 3 times.
Wow.
Um, yeah, so I'm finally I'm still about 20 levels under for that one, but it's getting there where I can actually do it. And yeah, just been using the new weapons, been using the new sword. Um, just trying out different builds because this is like when you actually have to think about every single mod. We've been going back and forth with builds and stuff, and trying to figure out the best way to like optimize the lost sectors and things. Obviously, the first one being Mask of Bacchus. Like as soon as that was out on the 1250, I just grinded that out immediately and thankfully got it after
Hmm.
not too long. So
Lucky
yeah,
you.
that's
I ground
yeah,
450
that's what I've been
gloves in.
doing.
It looked good.
Mm.
Yeah, I definitely, well, I got Mask. Everybody knows I got Mask of Backwards first try. First try.
Oh man.
Yeah,
So
get
it's
out.
just. What about you, John?
So I've been finishing off the Stranger's um, quest. So I'm 6 of 6 on her. So I've got all the fragments now, which allows me to change stuff up. I got the one that Nick recommended. So the when you shatter its people, you get increased weapon damage, which is nice. So that allowed me to progress a bit into 1280, but I'm not the player like that Nick and stuff is, so I can't do a 1280. But 1250s, I'm really comfortable with now. I one shotted um, the Exodus one on the Cosmodrome. I thought I'll go and take a stab at it and see what it's like. And because of all the mod changes that I'd done, when it was on the other day, I just split straight through it, which was really it felt good to know that I've progressed that much as a character and as a
Yeah.
player that I can go in there and be smart and everything. So and then just farming reborn hunts. So I've maxed out the lore on it. There's one extra upgrade, but it's not available in game yet. So it looks like it'll probably be a seasonal upgrade. So I can't get the triumph for it. And I've been working on triumphs. So I've done the one where you get kills with the seasonal weapons. I've done one of those, and then there's another one. I'm working on that one now, which is the SMG, the other grade launcher, and the linear fusion rifle. So
Yeah,
working on those.
yeah, yeah. Definitely. The
What about
Rathborn
yourself?
hunts are quite interesting. Well, I mean, I've been working a lot, so I haven't had as much time to play the game, but uh, I've just been working on upgrading old Crow's tree, trying to get the recon data so that I can max them out. And then I've been working on Varix, like you. Like I've just been grinding
Oh
away at
yeah, finished
Varix.
Varric as well. Done all three of his trees, which was cool. The most difficult one was doing hunts with the gear because I've not leveled the gear up. I know you're
Right.
wearing it, aren't you? Whereas I'm not.
Yeah.
So I was like, but I managed to get a good couple of groups.
Hmm.
So I contributed, but they definitely did the heavy lifting because
Yeah.
I didn't want to invest anything into leveling the gear up. Just wanted to get the triumph and
Yeah.
that
I
stuff.
feel you. I'm like actively trying to find high stat Christ Crane armor, so like I'm using it like a lot, you know. But I also have like a massive amount of resources that I'm like really hesitant to dive into because I know that Bungie's trying everything they can to get rid of people's resources, and I'm just not gonna fall for it. But um, yeah, you know, because there's not a whole lot going on, you know. So I'm testing out different weapons. I'm playing different content. I'm trying to farm for the Stars and Shadow pulse rifle from Crucible that I keep getting like the worst possible rolls on. So
It's got so many, right?
it's got way too many drops. It's insane. Like the odds of getting like a roll that you like is like 1 in like 30 or something. Like it's insane. So no, it's probably worse than that. But yeah, I mean there's not a whole lot going on. So thankfully I don't feel like I'm missing anything. Like if I get home from work and I just go to sleep. Uh but I just keep paying attention to the Twitter verse. So if something does happen, I'm ready.
I guess they're like not bombarding with new content because they're letting like the quest that came out with the raid and the raid itself, like they're letting that stuff breathe a little bit, so people
Right.
get to like catch up, so you don't feel like you're always on this like just catch up. One thing I forgot to mention, I actually did the raid. I think I mentioned that to you guys, but I actually went ahead and just hit up the LFG Discord for Destiny 2, which is like it's surprisingly just whatever activity you want to do, you just pop in there. You can immediately get a team. So I've always been sort of hesitant in the past because you never know what kind of people you get. But so far I've been super lucky with super chill guardians. So we ended up doing the raid in like I don't remember how long it took, maybe an hour 30, and really nice. Yeah, I love it so far.
Yeah, I
Any
don't think I'm
drops?
high enough for that yet.
Mm.
What'd you get from it?
So my drop luck was super bad. I got 3 pairs of pants
Oh, jeez.
and a cloak and the sword. So pretty much all the stuff I didn't want.
I mean, the cloak is unique at least.
Well, it's
It's because it's
yeah,
a collection, isn't it? So
Yeah. I
sure.
mean, well, actually, the sword's arc, so like you can mix that with backrits for a 10% damage increase.
That is true. That is true. And it looks cool. But
Yeah.
like the things
did you
I
get the mod
really
the other day? Sorry,
Oh, what?
I was saying, did you get the mod the other day from Banshee? The sword mod. So if you slot it in,
Oh yeah,
it
Lucent Blade.
increases your recharge of your swords.
I got it when it came out like
Oh,
a
okay.
year ago or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
But
Yeah, I already had
yes,
it when it popped
that's
up.
relevant again.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, especially with Lament. So
Exactly. That's such a game breaker. That's some encounters that just don't work anymore because like if you actually DPS with it properly, some bosses like just it breaks the encounter.
the
Hmm.
Wraithborn hunt bosses, even at tier 2,
Oh yeah.
2 full charge attacks, and they just melt. As long as they're not flying. Flying bosses, they just need to crash and burn. But any boss that you can get in the face of, 2 swings
Yeah.
of it and dead. It's really good.
Yeah. It's
2
insane.
swings.
It's insane. The big ass knight in the Dreaming City. Whap whap gone. Dead.
Yeah.
It's insane. But I agree with you. That fucking servitor drives me crazy on the
Mm.
right corner. I can't stand flying bosses because like even in Gambit, like I'll bring in Lament into Gambit and then oh, you have the servitor and I'm like, well, I can't contribute to this fight at all. Like this sucks.
Mm.
So I wish there was a way with flying bosses if you could like tether them to the ground for like 5 seconds just to do
That'd be
some
good.
damage. That'd be fun.
We think that
Yeah.
stasis would do that because stasis is supposed to. It makes other flying enemies drop.
Yeah.
So even let bosses do it. Only if it's like a super stasis. Not like your grenade or whatever.
Yeah.
You've got to risk and reward it. That'd be good.
Mm.
So
That would
with
be
the raid hunts, I discovered 2 things the other day, which probably everybody else knows, and I just wasn't observant enough. Is one, you could put down a banner before the fight, which
Yeah.
then makes them really easy.
yeah.
Because I was going in with like no super, and I'm like, this is taking ages, and now it's just dead easy. And even though you can't, so you level them up from doing like strikes, etc. There's a sub objective. So the other day mine was patrols. So I just ran some patrols and leveled my lore up. So
Oh.
About
which
the
is pretty good.
steez.
Yeah. So underneath, if you hover over it, there's a sub objective, and it will say like doing patrols and killing with this weapon or killing this type of enemy will contribute bonus, like bonus charge to the
Interesting.
lore. So I was like, that's pretty good because I was doing stuff on the planet anyway, and that was contributing. So again, it breaks up that gameplay cycle. I'm not like I've now got to go and do some Gambit or some Crucible or some Strikes. I'm doing something else I want to do for some triumphs, and it's charging that up. So
Yeah, yeah. The raid banners, they make it insanely easy.
yeah, I didn't know until
Not
like
that I
2 days
want them to
ago.
go.
So I was like,
Well, it's not that I want them to leave the Wraith Warriors, like I can live with those being there, but
yeah,
especially when you have some of these stupid objectives like kill them with this damage, okay, well then it really helps to have some freaking ammo. So,
yeah, exactly, yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean it's rough because like there's not a lot happening in the game, like gameplay wise, but there's also not a lot happening in the game narrative wise. So besides that quest, which we talked about already, there's not a whole lot going on.
Well,
But
I feel like on a very like small time scale, sure, but
yeah,
we're
yeah,
still. I think we're still like just a week away from, or a week removed from the last story beats we got, and I feel like that's sort of the time that they're giving for people to catch up doing those things. So let's say they have another major thing right away. Like I don't know how smart that would be. First of all, to like have those pile up for people who maybe if you didn't, you couldn't log in for 4 days or something, then you suddenly have like all those things lined up, and then you don't even know what's the most recent one. It's just like piling up.
yeah.
So
No, I
so
agree.
I feel like it's maybe the most realistic way to do it, because I'm sure there are going to be even longer content droughts throughout just this season alone. Like I'm really expecting some weeks where just nothing happens. So
Hopefully it'll
yeah,
get something, because yeah, if we've had 2 weeks with no new content, then that's where you then can look at it and call it a drought. But right now it's
yeah,
Thanksgiving week as well, isn't it? Do they want to drop something that potentially could break and not be in the office, quote unquote, to fix it because they're out celebrating, or not out, but they're at home with their family celebrating and everything.
yeah.
They don't need
Mhm.
people like us on Twitter going, "Oh, we can't complete this seasonal mission because it's broken," or whatever. So
Speaking
Yeah.
of trials, delayed once
yes, to
again
say
or canceled for the
Yes.
weekend.
Yes.
Really a rough time. Not a good optic there.
I mean, no new armor, no new weapons, so it was
Well,
already
new
going to be
weapons.
tough. Well,
The adept.
oh yeah, sorry. They shine in a slightly different light.
And they
Oh,
have a completely new perk system with the adept mods,
I
right?
thought it would have been smarter just to shelve trials for the season so they can like work through the growing pains of stasis and
I was
whatnot.
going to say, do we know what the issues are? Is it stasis that's causing it now, or
All I
I don't know.
saw was that they discovered an issue. That's all they said.
Mm.
So, but they didn't say exactly what it was. So I'm sure everybody, all the crackpots on Twitter are gonna have their own theories, but yeah, that's not good. That's not good for the hardcore Crucible players. That's brutal for them. They've
Yeah.
been
yeah,
waiting forever now. So that sucks for them. But uh, it's just been like you said, like I agree with you about the narrative change. Like, I think it's good that um they're taking a break every once in a while. I definitely understand that feeling because when I got into Destiny 1, when I really got into Destiny 1, I
Mm.
came in around Taken King and there was just so much crap that I had to do. And it
Yeah.
was like really exhausting. And I actually did it the wrong way. I did Destiny 1, I did House of Wolves, Taken King, forgot about Dark Below, so I had to go back and do Dark Below, and
Hmm.
that kind of just narratively didn't flow well, and I was super pissed. No, oh wait, yeah, that's what I did. Okay, so but yeah, so I agree with you that especially for the new light players, like I can't like they're already trying to get into the game, so like the worst possible thing would be to overwhelm them because then they like if you overwhelm somebody with something they're not used to, they're not gonna like it.
Yeah.
So, the gameplay could be great, but if they don't understand what's going on, then what's the point? So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I think that's a
that's
very
what we had
fair
before,
point.
didn't we? With New Light
Yeah,
last year. Was
yeah,
that so? Was his 9 quests that'll then spawn 2 or 3 quests of their own, and also, by the way, here's a red wall that's tucked away, so you don't understand the context of anything that's happening. And oh, by the way, we're going to the Boon. So
Yeah.
have fun with that.
Oh yeah, and Forsaken happened too. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and Curse of Osiris happened. Oh yeah, and Warmind happened. But you have to look for those. Sorry. You
Yeah.
know. So
I saw a stat today. Speaking of Forsaken, for 33% of Destiny's life now, we've not had a Hunter Vanguard, like an official one. Because Drifter technically looks after the hunters now, as if you when you go through the Beyond Light, the New Light campaign, he's looking after them, but we don't have an official one, and it's been for 33% of the life of Destiny, which is crazy.
I'd be okay with Drifter.
Wow.
It's the Hunter Vanguard. I like him, so
Mm.
you probably never will be, but I like Drifter, so I'd be like, yeah, man, all right. But he would never do that because he doesn't want to be stuck in the tower, even though he's stuck in the tower.
Well, he wasn't for a bit, was he? For about 4.5 hours, he was out on Europa chilling. So.
Yeah. I definitely expected them to do more. I expected Drifter and Eris to do more during the campaign instead of just talk to each other.
It was nice to get that though. That's more than we've had in previous iterations.
And they still might.
All been lore tabs. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm a little pissed that Lament is so good because I was so hyped for No Time to Explain, but now I can't stop using Lament. And now I'm really pissed about it because I'm like, oh, it's just sitting there on my inventory, just collecting dust, and it sucks. But
yeah.
So I'm really feeling the lack of loot is starting to hit me though. Like the lack of loot in the Wrathborn hunts is really worrisome to me because there's like 3 weapons that drops from it. Like
Yeah, I'm assuming they're gonna be on the rotation, so they're gonna have those 3, and then the other ones that are in the game already, they're like gonna probably switch those to be rewards for the Wrathborn hunts. No, not the Wrathborn hunts. The okay, sorry, I'm thinking about the, Empire hunts. Yeah, never mind. So who knows? Yeah, I'm assuming
It's
that
a
the
little
Wrathborn
worrisome.
hunts also are gonna get some additions. They can't just have those for the whole. Well, it's a season. Who knows?
It's just really disappointing because it's like if you don't like SMGs and you don't like linear fusions and you don't like grenade launchers, like if you don't like even one of those weapons, that loophole looks incredibly small to you, you know? So it's a little frustrating because it's like if you don't care about any of those weapons, there's really no point in even doing them in the first place.
Yeah.
You know? So it's kind of odd to me because we had Season of Dawn, which had a crap load of weapons. And we had Season of the Warmind, which had more than what we have now. All that were slightly unique as well. They had unique perk that it could trigger.
Well, I mean, it's a completely different gameplay loop. Like, there's nothing like that in this time around. Like, that's a pretty transformative thing. Like, I'm already now noticing that that's something. Like, I actually started doing Warmind builds today. Like, I've completely missed that thing because you were talking about it, and then I figured I'd try it. I did it with the SMG, and then later with the service revolver, and yeah, I mean that kind of. Obviously, you can't keep adding completely new like build. How should I say it? Like it's a completely new kind of build. Right. So maybe it's not super viable to have that for every season, but certainly nothing even close to that in this one.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's rough, but the only problem I had with the Warmind build is that I wasn't crazy about any of the Warmind weapons, so like I didn't really want to use any of them except for the shotgun.
Yeah.
But the system that they brought in was great, especially for people who really like those weapons. But,
yeah, and I feel it's nice for people who have invested in those as well because like now they're bringing them back as random world drops, so they're keeping that thing relevant. So it's kind of like a little bit of a I guess sort of it's nice to know that your build is going to be at least 2 seasons forward. It's going to be relevant. So they're not like phasing it out just yet. It's nice.
Yeah. I definitely I don't know, man. When I'm starting to get the loot from the vendors now, like the armor, the identical armor, and it's really burning. It's killing me. I'm like looking at it and I'm like, why is this a thing?
It's green, not red.
It's got a snake instead of a phoenix. You
Yeah.
know, and it drives me crazy. How did that get approved? And it's like, I just can't deal with it. I'm so upset. Like, I keep getting like all this stupid looking loot, and it's just so frustrating that it's even in the game. And then like being stuck with, you know, the 3 weapons to get from the Wrathborn hunts, which kind of just kills my desire to do the Wrathborn hunts besides lore. It's just kind of frustrating because it's like it's not even like there's no loot. It's like an abysmal amount of loot. Like it's insane. Like how are you going to keep people engaged with such a lackluster amount of loot? Because ultimately that's why we're here. Ultimately that's why people play the game is because they want loot. So let's say that you're playing the raid and you get all your trash drops, and then you play the Wrathborn and there's only trash drops really. Once you get like a good SMG, you don't really need another one. And once you play the vendors, you get all the armor, and that armor's ugly as fuck. But like, there's just nothing right now that I can see besides the raid loot, which I'm not even high enough to get yet, as the only things that are like the only loot that I can see myself really going for. Like, oh, I really want to try that because there's not a whole lot
Yeah.
else
I mean,
besides Europa.
yeah, I guess part of it was they were assuming that the new exotics is kind of that, you're leveling up for. Like that's something I like though, having one more reason to even level up. Like
Right.
if they're gonna have this seasonal thing where you always have to level up, then at least have some kind of eh, like expanded ways to, notice that. Because right now it's been sort of motivating to every level I get, it's gonna make the exotic farm a little bit easier and just we were talking about the deterministic loot in general. Like there's this in the raid, you have this ending chest where you can actually select a weapon at the end because
What?
you get like this currency which is spoils of conquest, and that you get from all the chests in the raid.
And you
And then at
chose
the
the
end,
sword?
no, then at the end, like you can choose out of the ones you've got so far. So let's
Oh,
say
so
you have.
you can focus or reroll. Is that what you mean?
Yes, so every time at the end of the raid, you get the ending boss drops a weapon, but then you also have this chest where you can go in and spend your currency on any of the weapons you got already or armor pieces. So that's a way to like every time you do a raid, because you can, even if you've done it this week, you can go in again and then get that currency and spend it
So
at the last chest.
if you do it again, you don't get any drops, but at the end you can still open that final chest and get
Exactly.
something.
Exactly. Yeah. So you can go for like every raid you can have a chance at a good one of the hand cannons if you've seen it before.
Okay.
So so
That's
yeah,
good.
you can just go in and there's the same thing with like there's so many things now that you can select. Even the Wrathborn hunts not being great, but there's also this little trend where you get to select like exclude perks and yeah, multiple things where it's not as random. I still think it's way too many play sessions when you come out of it and thinking like uh, all that time and nothing to show for it. Like that
Right.
still happens way too much, but less so maybe than before.
Yeah. I mean, and that's a fair point. I mean, it's a great system, like the Wrathborn Hunts. It's a great system. It's just there's not enough loot to motivate me to participate in the system, you
Yeah.
know? Because once I finish the loot and once I finish Crow, well, I'm just gonna sit back and not even do them. You know, I'll do the pinnacle drop, but like I'm not gonna do them because I don't really have a reason to.
Yeah. I feel like I'm still hesitant to sort of judge it based on just this because I feel like it's very likely that we're gonna get more story stuff,
Oh
like
yeah, I hope
obvious
so.
with Crow, and I feel like that's where they leave room to expand the loot pool as well. So maybe
Yeah.
they have some sort of turning point with a new story beat and then some new weapons, because I feel like they are gonna have more upgrades for the thing. Like most people who have played any amount of them have almost completed all the perks, right, for the lure. So if that's all it is for this entire season.
Well, the Triumph says that it's 7, and you can only upgrade 6 right now. So there's one more. But again, what that is, that may be what you upgrade then to fight the big, the guy that ran away during the
This
first mission.
high celebrant.
Yeah. So you may need that to bring him out. But yeah, it would be nice if there's more than just the 4 bosses you've got. Even if it's just 2 a week, one on Tangled Shore, one on in the Dreaming City. So in the end, you end up with 10, for example, and then you've got to defeat all 10, and then that's all these lieutenants beaten. So that's 4 or 5 weeks worth of content down the line, and then he's there. So
yeah,
but they could skip every other week, and that would pretty much fill a season. So
yeah,
Yeah,
we shall see. It's I like them. They're quick. They're sub 10 minutes. They're in, they're out, and every week you can do a certain amount to get powerful armor. So it's worth doing it, even if it's just for the upgrade. Oh, that's 5 levels above what I've already got. Boom, done. And then obviously you've got to do 5 to get the pinnacle drop. So you've got to do at least 5 a week. So
yeah. Well, it's good because it's the same thing where we had was it the umbrals? You could also like focus towards specific things where you could, because right now in dim you can go in and see like which you can at a glance you can see which ones of my slots are like lagging behind. So let's say my chest armor is like 3 levels behind. Then I can just focus toward a chest armor, and then like that's the best way to get at least a guaranteed benefit out of your drop, no matter how bad the armor is itself. So like anything of that, and also just the thing that a lot of Varix's upgrades have this specific like there's so many things that say guaranteed this and guaranteed that and guaranteed 1 weapon from the first lost sector in the Eclipse Zone or whatever, and first guaranteed high stat armor from Empire Hunts over Legend difficulty or Hero difficulty. So yeah, I think that's all good stuff. It feels like it's a very slow boat to turn around, but I feel like it's slowly they're going toward more of that. So if there's one takeaway from this, like a positive one, it's definitely that for me.
Yeah, I definitely I don't want to seem like a negative Nancy to people. I definitely I'm not judging the Wrathborn hunts. I'm just saying I don't have a reason to do them yet right now.
Yeah, fair.
Until until they decide to add more loot to them, because there's just nothing going on. There's no loot that I care about in them right now. So I'll do my pinnacle drop and whatnot, but other than that, I'm not gonna like go out of my way to farm them all day long. There's nothing for me to farm in them, so
I want a reason to do them in a group, because so far to just you can do them in a fire team, but they're just a solo ball, especially when you unlock all the way through. Because now when I go in to a tier 2, I get a beneficial buff as well. So the one yesterday was basically all my powerful weapon. There's more powerful ammo, and they did more damage. So just absolutely wrecking shop with powerful weapons. So it'd be nice if they release a tier 3 version down the line, for example. Like these new lieutenants potentially could be tier 3, and you've got to go in with a fire team because, it's just so completely soloable. It has been since day 1. So, so it'd be nice for a reason to, make it elective difficulty. Make there to be a 1250 and a 1280 version. So,
agreed.
Should be good.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of insane how quickly you can just burn right through these. And I'm not complaining about that. That's totally fine. Like, I see some people that are saying they're way too easy. You have to make them harder, and I'm like, well, I just think you need to
just add more
difficulty.
Options.
I don't think you should make them harder.
Yeah, don't make the base more difficult, because there are people out there that only have 5 hours a week to play, and they want to get their content done. So do what they've done with the Empire hunts. The Empire hunts were a little bit challenging at first, and then as soon as you got the gear, they weren't. And then all of a sudden, there's elective difficulty, and I'm like, this is amazing. This is what I want. You know.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know if you've done the EXO challenge this week, but that's really fun.
Oh
So
yeah,
the agility,
that's really really good.
that's
That stuff is
really good.
amazing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
the survival one wasn't that good. It was just run,
Mhm.
kill stuff, get a buff, stand in a fire, get a buff, stand in a fire, kill the boss. Whereas the agility one, I was like, what's going on here? This is
Yeah.
and same
Very good.
mechanic repeated every 90 seconds, but it
Mhm.
was so good. This being platforms, multiple levels,
Mhm. That
and
final
really
bit.
enjoyed.
I
Yeah,
do wonder
and
how many of
that.
those we can expect.
There's three according to Triumph. So there's survival, agility,
Oh
and then one other. So
man, the triumphs spoil everything. Huh?
Yeah,
You
and
know
then you're like,
exactly.
you know exactly what's gonna happen. You're like, oh,
Mm.
but yeah. I mean, I think the game's in a good place. I think that people are generally satisfied with what they're doing right now.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're hoping for some content next week, but we'll see what happens. I mean, it's not the end of the world if there's not a lot going on next week. It's fine. Like people are still easing back into Destiny hard, like in a committing kind of way, and
Yeah.
so it's fine. Like I'm not upset about like Wrathborn hunts. I'm not upset about certain things. It just
Yeah.
is what it is.
Because here's
it's
the
fine.
deal. I think it'd be interesting to see some kind of statistics on people's leveling in general, like let's say, what the average level is right now. Because I can really imagine that the majority of the player base is now getting to a point where they can like start to maybe do 1250 stuff. That's still very high for a lot of people. Even for like regular players of Destiny are barely 1250 at this point. So even then, a huge part of the content so far is sort of out of their reach. So
Well,
I don't
Becky,
think it's
she
alarming
plays.
just yet that there's no more, but
Yeah, definitely.
certainly in the coming weeks, like you said, next week or the week after that, we should expect
Well,
something.
yeah, hopefully, definitely. Well, Becky
Yeah.
plays an hour a day, maybe a little bit more. Some days not at all, and she's 12, 20 something. So,
Right.
so it is not. I don't want to be like I don't want to generalize, but it's not difficult to break the 1200 barrier. It's then getting that time when you start once you've done all your weekly bits is then pushing and the repetitiveness of going in and pushing for more powerful and doing pinnacle. That's the slow bit. That's the grind. All the bit that's not so easy, but the rest of it, you go in, do your three matches here. Like she finished all the gambit bounties in a game and a half the other day, so it's doable to get there. 2 weeks in, 3 weeks in, and yeah, like last season, neither of us hit cap because we did what we needed to do, and then because it was spaced out so much, it was like, well, I'll log in once a week, do a bit, and then log off. Whereas this now, because it's the reverse for us, because it's gone from being a 17-week season or whatever it was to being condensed. So the need to play is there, and I don't know if other players that have only been back playing like 6 months or whatever we have. Well, no, it's been 6 months, so we'll have been playing 7 or 8 months. Um, so we've still got that need to keep playing. Whereas I know a lot of veterans probably feel it's a big burnout. People that have never stopped playing by veterans. I mean, so
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I know you
and
stopped playing for a few weeks in your last season, Dimitri. Like you'd be barely logged in because a 17-week season was a lot, or
mhm.
whatever it ended up being. It might have been 19 or 20 week because it's 12, 13-week season anyway, isn't it? And they extended it by 7. So yeah,
Yeah, I took a break from the game, and I find myself, I'm probably gonna get there at some point, like not because the game's bad or something, but you can have too much of a good thing. And so like there are days where I'm like, I'm just gonna play some Madden today, or I'm gonna play some Division today, because like you need a balance. You can't just be all Destiny all the time. Like, burn you out real quick. So like, I see myself needing probably this week, later in the week, I'm probably gonna find some time so I can catch up on the rest of the Division 2 season, because I'm almost done, but I need to catch up on I think there's 2 new hunts I gotta finish, so I gotta log in this week and get that done. But um, Yeah, and it's fine. Like it's not because it's an indictment on Beyond Light or something, Like I'm pretty satisfied.
Yeah.
Um at this moment, I'm pretty satisfied. So like I may not feel a burning desire to log in, like I just absolutely need to log in, but that doesn't mean that I don't want to. So
Yeah.
um like I said, there's things I'm going for. Like the thing that I'm going for hardcore is Stars and Shadow. So I'm hoping I can get a good roll on that. And I plan to do the raid hopefully this week.
Hmm.
Um, so
Yeah, we'll try and do it next reset. So
yeah.
I'm not gonna have a chance to reset now.
But finding out about that farmable whatnot at the end, that's actually really cool. That sounds
Yeah.
really, really cool. I'm
Definitely.
really interested in that.
You can use those on. So the Marks of Conquest, are they the same ones that you get from other raids as well? So can you do other
Yeah.
raids and come into that one? Yeah, so that's
I think so. Yeah.
because you can use them at the kiosk as well, can't you, to get previous exotics? So,
Yeah.
so that's good.
Mhm. Yeah. So I'm definitely really interested in this mechanic, and I definitely want to participate in it because I really want to. I really want to get a good roll on that shotgun because like it's the only other kinetic shotgun in the game, and it's a frame that I like because the Trials one it's clunky and slow, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
So like I really want to get a good version of the Rage shotgun and possibly. I mean, those
But you
boots
want
look
the
pretty cool.
rocket launch, don't you? So not the
Well,
exotic one.
yeah, that exotic rocket launcher looks pretty awesome.
Yeah. Looks sick.
So, I definitely would love to get that. I wouldn't be mad about that.
Yeah, you know.
But it definitely looks
Yeah.
like a lot of fun.
I definitely,
So,
most of all, I want the sniper myself.
Oh yeah.
speaking of snipers, have you got Cloud Strike?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not good with sniper rifles, so I don't know if it's a good exotic because I'm just really bad. Because you get that close to an enemy, I'm like, I don't want to be this close. I don't, give me half zoom, and I'll be happy.
Well,
So
it is a
what do you think of it?
specifically high zoom, isn't it?
Yeah,
On top of that,
yeah. So
on the Cloud Strike. But it's good. It's really good.
yeah, good. Because I
Yeah.
say I enjoyed it a bit, and then I just popped in the vault, so I was like, gone, bye. So
Yeah, I definitely how is the scope on that weapon? Because it's such a
It's
bizarre looking weapon.
it's high zoom. It's
Okay.
at least 50 zoom, but it's yeah, I mean it's a clean looking, pretty basic looking scope with a circle reticle, and yeah, it's okay. Definitely it feels sluggish in PvP because it doesn't have any like specific handling traits, and the base handling on it is kind of poor. So using it with the Dragon Shadow or something uh, makes it usable in PvP, but it's actually doing some super good damage in PvE. And
what's the splash
once
damage like in PvP?
the splash, the big storm,
The yeah,
it's
is it
it's
enough to take
nuts.
shields down and stuff?
It's nuts. It's enough to kill. So you have,
Really?
let's say you have 4 guardians on a control point. You shoot one of them, they all die.
That's awesome.
So yeah,
That is pretty cool.
yeah,
I need to get good with
Yeah.
sniper rifles, but I just don't like the amount of zoom on that. So
yeah.
if anybody can recommend a sniper rifle with half the zoom, that'd be good. So that's why I
Mhm.
like scout rifles and stuff because I can achieve a similar effect, but I'm not in the face of the enemy. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, the lower zoomed ones that didn't get sunset are like Supremacy is one of them. So, and that's about it.
if I've got that, I'll have to have a look.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely I I was watching a video, and if you pair it with Backrus in PvE, it's like even better, and it's
Yeah.
like insane. Like it's insane. Like because it still spawns lightning on certain shots. So like he was fighting like a fallen walker, and he was just like he spun with Backrus, and then he shot the legs. It went down, and then he kept
Yeah.
shooting the freaking crit spot, and lightning kept coming down, and he
Yeah.
just
Yeah, it's
murked
rapid
this fallen
precision shots,
walker.
isn't it?
Yeah, so he just
Well,
murked
yeah.
it.
So it's three precision shots does the lightning storm, And precision kills does like a massive firefly kind of effect.
Mm-hmm.
So it's twofold.
It's pretty cool. It's kind of like the lightning from Thunderlord, sort of.
Oh, yeah, totally.
So
Kind of like Zen Meteor also from Destiny
that's
1. A little bit.
old school, man. That's
Yeah, man.
super old school.
Yeah.
Man, I wish they would have found a way to make that a good weapon.
Yeah.
You
It
never
was kind of
know.
meh, kind of bland. But I liked it. It looked cool.
It was.
We'll have
it was
speaking of
interesting.
bringing stuff back, we'll have potentially, we might get Hawkman quest start this week. That'd be pretty good, wouldn't it? So,
Yeah. Hopefully.
we've got that. That's a whole thing to be doing.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's not a like end of the season type event. And then they go, oh, by the way, this season's finished, but here's the new exotic for next season. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
oh,
There's still a couple
oh.
ones they could bring back, and I wouldn't be mad, like Steel Piercer and things like that. And whatever the one was where if you were they're not going to do it, but the one where if you were crouching, you went as invisible. That sniper from day one.
Oh,
Patience and Time.
oh, jeez. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
They're never
That's
going to do it.
Was that the raid weapon? Was that the raid one? Did you drop
No,
the
it
raid?
was just like a exotic.
What was the one that came in the raid? The dropped in raid. Icebreaker, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
Icebreaker.
Yeah.
Man,
Hopefully
now
we'll
that
get
you-
back Smith back with Vault.
Mm.
That'd be amazing.
see now that you got me thinking about freaking Zenbead here, I don't even remember. Like that was a random drop.
Yeah.
Fuck. I looked up the hunter armor from the raid, and it's so cool looking.
From
the
current raid.
It's so weird. It's cool.
Yeah.
Like, I think the helmet's easily the best part, but like, it's a wonky looking set. Like, it looks like it converted your character into an exo.
Yeah, I like that. The boots not very cool necessarily, at least on the female hunter. I don't know how to look on male, but yeah, chest piece looks okay. Cloak's okay.
Yeah,
Helmet's nice.
let me see if I can drag it into the chat.
So, have you guys heard about what the narrative director has said or
There it is.
confirmed about Osiris and Saint?
No, what did he say?
So there was lots of talk that they were lovers, and then some people were like, no, they're not, they're brothers, etc., etc. And he's come out and gone, no, they are. You know, they
Yeah.
always have been. So,
Wait.
and it's really good, and he's
I
done
thought
a
it was
massive
very
spread on
heavily
it.
implied.
I'm very
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I mean they've
Well,
been
that's
sort of always, looking out for each other and being like very concerned for each other, and especially Osiris has been like super concerned for Saint. This
Wait, he confirmed that they're what?
They're
they're
lovers.
They're
Yeah.
lovers?
yeah.
So
I always thought they were
people were like,
brothers.
oh, but they call each other brother, and that's a bit wrong. And he's like, yeah, I think the people that conceptualize these characters watched a bit too much Lost, because Desmond calls everybody brother. So, but he's like, it's brother in arms. It's like that. But they are, they are a
Who's the
couple.
narrative
So,
director? What's his name?
I can't remember his name. I read the thread earlier today.
Osiris Saint 14. I'm not mad about that, listeners.
Yeah.
I'm just very like, I didn't know that.
It was really.
I think it's been well done.
8 or 9 threads posting the thread talking about it and everything. So it's really good.
Yeah.
You get the typical backlash of, oh, you just queer baiting and stuff, and he's like, no, we're not. That's the point. It's
been a very
taken till now
carefully,
for us
nicely.
to say that it's official because we assumed everybody knew.
Yeah.
Because it gave reference to the fact that some people didn't think that Zavala was awoken because it wasn't obvious. How is it not obvious that Zavala's awoken?
Yeah.
To me, it's obvious, but some people thought he was human because he's got slightly different skin tone, and it's like, wow, that's just a completely different subject, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
I'm reading some of the Twitter reactions, and so far they're mostly positive. Mostly,
yeah. A lot of positive.
Robert Brooks at Sphinxian said, "Back when I joined Bungie, I always felt Saint 14 and Osiris were romantically involved because as a queer man, their romance made sense to me. I learned my interpretation was in fact correct when I became a narrative designer for the company, and I was overjoyed. People are saying move Osiris to the hangar next to Saint 14. Uh, Osiris is going to stick his Dawn Blade into Saint 14's bubble, confirmed. Oh my God. Um,
Enough Twitter for today.
yes.
A valid point though. They thought that that Saint was an exo because of how he sounds, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure he's not an exo. I think it's just his armor.
Uh-huh.
Because he's human, isn't he? He's Saint.
No, he's an
Well,
EXO.
Oh yeah, obviously he's got 14 in the name. So as soon as I said
No,
it, I was
you
like,
don't you
hopefully
don't
nobody
need
will
to
understand it.
no,
So
because remember Curse of Osiris,
yeah,
and you go to his body. Well, it was an
yeah,
EXO.
yeah. I
So
know.
that's
At least as
interesting,
soon as I
isn't
said it, I was like,
it?
you don't edit the episode, so this is gonna be stuck in, and everybody's gonna be like, John Doe, there's no difference between a human and an exo, even though it's got a number at the end.
how do you
Oh,
not know everything there is to
I
know?
know.
yeah.
I'm
How
sorry.
do you not know all the lore? Do you call yourself
Sorry.
a Destiny fan? Oh my God.
No, I don't. No. I call
Um,
myself a Terry Chocolate Orange fan. I'm not.
this
Doesn't
is the
even know
nicest.
everything.
This is the nicest tweet. Somebody said, just got Saint 14's idol line. The things we chase better us. And here I am crying about his long pursuit of Osiris. He lost so much and he still doesn't regret it. Like, I love Saint 14. I'm not a Titan, but I love his character. He's so freaking cool. Um, so I'm definitely really, this is very interesting to me. Like, I'm definitely I'm down with that. I mean, obviously, it's not like my choice. I'm not in charge, but I like it. I think it's a cool thing. I'll be honest, I never really thought about it. I didn't
Yeah.
think they were brothers. I just never came to my mind. But now, like you said, having a confirmation makes it so much better because now we
Yeah.
know. And then you look back and you listen to his like messages, and every once in a while, Cyrus is like, "I worry about Saint." Da, da,
Yeah.
da. I'm like, "Aw, it's so
Further in that
nice."
thread, there's confirmation of one other couple as well. But as the guy said, he's like, Destiny's not based on romance. It's based on it's a human tragedy. It's based on that, but it's not about love and romance and stuff. I can't remember who the other couple is, but there's one other.
Hmm.
So it's not like it's Zavala and Icor or anything like that. It's nobody. It's no prime time player kind of thing. So
Yeah.
Hmm.
but I thought
Yeah,
that was pretty good. So and then if we have the time, have you guys heard about the backlash for Glad?
go for it. Yeah, go
So
for it.
he basically came out and was like, the raid's too easy. They're making it too easy now because it got cleared by so quick by so many people, and there's been a huge backlash on it. Like a lot of YouTubers that do Destiny content but aren't known for Destiny content have started to put stuff out. A lot of journalists and stuff have gotten on it as well because it came across as whining as, oh, this content is too easy.
Hmm.
And he's come out then and corrected and gone, I didn't mean it that way. But then somebody's response to him was going, well, it's like you saying the color red, but actually what you meant was green. You said what you said, you curated that, you put it out there, so you must have known what you meant. So
Hmm.
it's not like a live podcast like this where we get stuff wrong. This was taken, done, put out. So I
Yeah.
haven't done the raid. Nick's done it.
Yeah.
Obviously you're over leveled in respect to what those guys were when they did it. It
Yeah.
did feel like it got completed really quick. What, 6 hours?
Hmm.
Or does that make it too easy? Or is that just the skill level of the player base now? Of that 1% of the player base that could do it, are they just that so used to the mechanics now? Are they so quick to learn? Or or was it a try hard raid?
Okay, so there was this metric that probably he based it on mostly. Like, I guess we don't have to go into like gossip who said what, but I think the general discussion is interesting on
Hmm.
like raid difficulty and accessibility. So this raid had like double the amount of clears on the first day as like the second highest number, which was I think Eater of Worlds maybe.
Hmm.
So that kind of implies that it was first of all an easier day one experience where even with the contest modifier there was still like was it 7,000 or like 7,500 teams that completed it during the first 24 hours. So, like, just based on those numbers, yeah, it was probably the easiest day one experience. And now, like, a lot of different guys like Dado and people are saying, like, even like people who have done it way more than I have are saying that without the contest modifier, it's like sometimes it's even hard. I even experienced that in the raid where we were trying to wipe, and it was really hard to wipe. I was standing there and I had like 10 dregs all around me trying to shoot me, and I just stood there and I had to like, okay, go into my inventory, take out a grenade launcher and kill myself because they were just not getting the job done. Like I was regenerating faster.
Wow.
So yeah, so there's definitely kind of a difficulty discussion right now, and who I guess the negative part was like, oh, people this time around don't deserve the or it's like a handout or something like that. I guess handout was the big like
The envelope
tagline
thing,
there.
yeah.
Yeah,
Big thing,
so in that regard, I personally don't think Destiny should ever become a thing where the pinnacle activity, like the big thing that brings the community together. Anytime there's a day one raid, it's always like a big thing that everybody watches and everybody wants to take part of. So
Look
if
at
they move
Twitch.
that even further away,
That's-
like it's still a couple percent that do it. So if they move that even further away, then I think engagement goes down. It can only go down.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're doing the right thing, but it's
Yeah.
it's it's a valid discussion where you start thinking about, okay, so maybe you would have like a, if they have the resources to make another SKU of the raid where you could select a contest modifier. You know, if you wanted, you could get like more spoils of conquest if you do it on contest modifier or something like that. I saw a lot of really good suggestions like that. So
Mm-hmm.
potentially selectable difficulty, but as they've said, since they stopped doing heroic mode, uh, it's just a lot of work because you have to do like basically two versions of every encounter, completely
Yeah,
differently
with nearly
balanced.
half the team. It's
Yeah,
it's a lot, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, look, Glad's the same guy that one mans and two mans everything in the game. So I mean, like, I think it's kind of hard for somebody who's that on top, I think, to understand how difficult it is for the average player, even at power level. It's
yeah,
still really tough for certain players. Like, you know, him doing Spire of Stars is a piece of cake, even on But for the average player, Spire of Stars is like a pain in the ass, you know. So I like the guy. I follow the guy. I accept his apology, but I agree with you, John, that like, hey, when you say something that you've clearly done a lot of thought about, uh, you got to stand by what you said. Like if that's what you believe, then that's what you believe, and that's fine. But if you didn't mean it that way, you have to start thinking about what you're going to say from now on, because if that's not what you meant, that's not what it came out like,
Yeah,
so
even the developers will
yeah,
probably look at somebody like him as a benchmark for stuff. So yeah, he wields a lot of power, whether whether he knows it or not, and I think he knows it. But he wields a lot of influence and stuff. So yeah, it may have driven more people to do the raid because it's that easy. I'll go and do it. I don't know, but yeah, it had
mm,
a lot of negative connotations. So
yeah. And it's when he said, but that doesn't mean that I want to take away the world's first, like, hey, if you did that, you did that, or you tried it. It's like, okay, well then keep it like that, like, because it looks bad, like on
yeah,
paper the comment looks like you're salty on, and I'm not saying he's salty,
no,
I'm
no,
just
no, yeah,
saying,
yeah,
if
that's
you
how it
if you read
appears.
out, so what I learned in journalism in college is that before you write something out, like before you say it or whatnot, write it out and read it on paper, because when you
yeah,
read something on paper it sounds completely different. So when you read his quote on paper, it sounds salty. It sounds really
yeah,
negative. And you guys know, I just finished that interview with Aoterra and Soto from the world's first team that's going to be uploaded today. And, you know, they were really, really cool guys. And they even told me they went into it not thinking they would get world's first. Like, they told me they went into it and they were like, let's just do what we can do. We're not going to worry about what we can't control. Let's not worry about other teams. We're just going to do it. And then they were like, we're sorry we had to skip the cutscene, but we just had to make sure that we were going to get it at that point. And they were like, we still didn't think that we were going to get it. And then when they saw their names on Bungie's Twitter, they were like, oh my God, we got it. So like, regardless of how easy the raid must have felt, even though I saw plenty of skilled teams like Aztecross stuck on the second encounter all day.
That broke a lot of teams, didn't it?
Exactly.
Lot of teams.
So was it really that easy? If really, really high skilled teams were completely befuddled by the raid.
Yeah.
So the fact that they achieved world's first still stands with every other world's first. That's an incredible achievement that's going to last forever. Yeah. So, you know, look, if the raids are getting a little easy, I don't think so. But if they're getting a little easy, okay, have a discussion internally at your next meeting with Bungie or something. But I think maybe it's not best to put a quote like that out in the public where we know that people are going to misconstrue what you say. And we know that no matter what you say and how many avenues you try to cover, it's still going to get misconstrued. So just don't even say it, honestly. And it's not because I don't want him to be able to speak his mind, but you got to put more thought into what you're about to say about something that early. After everybody's already trying to celebrate and congratulate this team, that's not really the best timing to say something like that.
No, in the first week, definitely not. You know, it does come across as salty, even though we know he's not meaning to be. It does, and it hurts people. You know, Destin Ligari, I think that's how you pronounce his name. You know, he's a big journalist, and he did a reaction video, and he's like, yeah, it stung because we were stuck on the second boss. You know, we went to bed, got up the next day, and carried on. And it was not easy. You know, It's not easy to admit that you can't get past something as well. So for somebody to turn around and go, "It's too easy," is like, yeah. So again, he says he didn't mean it that way. So we'll accept that train of thought and discussion. But it's you know, it's not like it's, you know, whether you're listening or not joking. It's not like somebody like yourself who likes to cause controversy, along with speaking the truth, and has very valid points, likes to poke the bear. This is Glad, who is, you know, top echelon. So it's like Tower Freak or something like that doing a Halo discussion and going, you know, saying Halo Legendary or Halo Infinite Lasso is too easy. Also, we don't know if it's going to be easy or not, but it's like something like him saying it. The community will listen to it and take that on board. So,
yeah. You know, and, you know, hey, that's something that happened in the community, you know? So, but, you know, I think the community showed a good response. Now, I'm not saying all of the community showed a good response.
Yeah,
every community is going to have shit. But I think the community showed a good response by saying, hey, let's not diminish people's accomplishments. You know, like, they were the first in the entire planet Earth to complete the raid. That's awesome. Yep. You know what? Hands out to them, and congrats to all the people who even attempted. That's hey, that takes a lot. You know, it takes a lot of guts.
Did, you know?
Yeah, we didn't. And you know what? I have work and shit, but I'm so proud of everybody who did, and I'm so proud of everybody in my clan, Kamikaze for attempting. I don't know if anybody actually managed to get it done in the first 24 hours in my clan, but I'm really proud of all of them for trying, you know, and, you know, that shows a lot of commitment to the game, that you're willing to spend your whole day in one activity just trying to get it done. That's really, really great. So, you know.
Well, I think our commitment now should be, as we wrap up, is if crossplay is enabled by next expansion.
Oh boy.
That we three do that anyway. Also, we get more.
I agree.
But why not? Because, you know, two of us play on one platform, like on Xbox. I can play on PC as well. But in regards of a cost, I'm currently focused on Xbox. This time next year, you know, Nick should have his PS5 by then. So even if he played on PS5, So he'll have some clan mates. We can join in, and we
Yeah.
can do it. So
That's the thing,
go for that.
listeners. What do you think? Next expansion, if we have crossplay, let's
Or
do
even
this.
if they do Vault of Glass, if crossplay's out by Vault of Glass.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
So
That'd be really cool.
that
I'd be
would going
totally
back
down for that.
The nostalgia. So,
Absolutely.
do you think they'll do a world first on Vault of Glass? Because
On
it's
the
already
new
been
Vault
out.
of
assume so.
Glass? I think
Yeah.
so. That'd be cool.
Awesome.
Oh, if they do a Vault of Glass jacket. Yo.
Ooh.
Oh boy, that would be sick.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Like a Gorgon beanie hat or something. Like that'd be sick.
Oh, stop it.
All right. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Deep Stone Podcast. We're very, very happy to continue growing and very happy to have you listeners be listening to us. Yeah. Thanks again for joining us. And thanks again to Nick and Proto for being here.
Thanks.
No problem.
Pleasure.
See you later, folks.